So welcome back to another video where today I'll be doing something a little bit different but kind of the same. Bonus points if you know where that is from. So I picked up this bike, this Marin, well it was probably a month or two ago now, and it didn't cost much. It only cost £24. It's not in a good state though, and I was gonna do the usual to it, but I've decided to do something a little bit different. I've set myself a budget of £100 and I'm going to try and get it all working again. That includes buying tools, buying all the spares and buying this bike. So technically I've only got £76 left to get this bike up and running. Now, as I said, I'm buying tools with this because I wanted to sort of show anyone that wants to get into building bikes or just maintaining bikes that you don't need all this wall of tools plus all the other tools that I've got around to do, you know, simple maintenance. You don't need all this stuff, and you don't need to be spending, I mean, I don't know how much that park spanner costs, but you don't need to be spending that much just to take off pedals. So I'm going to try and include the tools costs in breaking this bike down and getting it back on the road for under that £100. Of course, when you start to look around the bike, you then start to realise how many different spares that I'm going to need to buy with this £100 as well as the tools. I'm going to need to replace this saddle. It's got a few rips there, but the other side is completely ripped. I'm going to need new brake pads because these are old, worn and cracked. Clearly, new cables as well. Most of the time you can get away with using the same outer cables, especially if you're on a budget. So I'm just going to look at replacing the inner cables on these, and hopefully that'll work. The tyres are holding air, but as you can see they are cracked, extremely cracked, so they are not going to last much longer. So tyres are another addition that needs to be found with this £100. Unfortunately, I don't think this is something that I'm going to be able to fit in this budget, but it would be nice to replace this wheel set, or at least the spokes. They are rusty, nothing structural it appears. I have gone around them, so it's just surface, so you could just wire brush them back up, but I'm pretty certain the budget is not going to allow me to replace these spokes, because I know spokes to buy a full set is going to cost me about £40 to do the front and rear, and that's clearly not going to give me enough. Now, this bike didn't come with a chain, so I need a chain. I'll also look at replacing this cassette, because judging by the rest of the bike, it has been well worn. Sometimes you can get away with not replacing this cassette. Most of the time you have to. So cassette and chain are on the list to be replaced. And finally, bottom bracket. While it's not critical because it is a sealed unit, it would be nice to replace it. I was hoping it was going to be cup and cone for this, so I could have a nice easy service, but a sealed unit is in there. I'm going to try and replace that. I can't replace any of these rings in this crankset because it is a low end bike. It's got the Alivio group on it, so that is staying. The rings look good, so I think that's everything that I need for this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stick to that £100 budget completely if it's buying tools and everything, but when you think about it, a completely basic mountain bike from say Halfords, Argos, anything like that, it's going to cost £100 or just over. And I'm going to try here to, obviously I've bought the bike, but I'm going to buy all the tools that I need to do this, and all the spares, and you'll also teach yourself how to fix it, so it will be set up properly and ready to go, all for the same price as a basic Halfords bike, or Argos, anything like that. I should say one more thing. While I will try and clean it up as best as possible with stuff I've got on the side, just so the next owner of this has a tidy bike, I'm probably not going to include stuff like polish in the price, in the budget, because I'm kind of picturing this as what you might have, in your parents' garage, and car polish is likely going to be in there. Maybe it was in mine, so that's going to be included. Grease is going to be bought. And yeah, I'll run through everything. So first off, the tools. I did put this little idea out there, float it around, and I was told I can use stuff that you might find in your garage already. So screwdrivers, spanners, which included an adjustable, thank you, and maybe like pliers. Bike specific parts I've had to search for, had to buy, which I was going for a whole look around the bike, see what's needed replacing, and then find those tools individually from China, which was working out okay. And then I actually managed to find, I didn't know you could get this so cheap, this is a 44-piece toolkit that you can buy on eBay for the princely sum of £24, the same price as I paid for the bike. Now this is the first time I've opened it. I'm not expecting quality here, but this is what I'm going to try and use to repair this bike. So yeah, I'm not expecting complete quality from this set, but I'm going to use it. I'm going to see how it performs with this, and then this set is going to go along with the bike to the next owner, so they can do their own work on the bike. Hopefully this video might encourage someone, but it looks like I've got everything I might need in this set. You've got the cassette remover tool, bottom bracket tool, chain splitter, puncture repair kit. This looks like a headset spanner. Yes, it's a headset spanner. Spoke tool, tyre pressure gauge, chain whip, which we'll also need for the cassette. A small set of Allen keys, a little screwdriver, which might be JIS standard for the rear derailleur. I've got, it looks like 2 sets there of cone spanners. That is also another spanner, maybe a bit more heavy duty for pedals. It's got 15, 16, 15 and 17. Underneath that we have a random 8 and 10mm spanner from somewhere. Got the crank puller, tyre levers. That is a pin spanner, adjustable spanner. What's this? I think that's meant to be like a C spanner of sorts. Adjustable spanner, and then we've got 2 different bigger Allen keys and a few sockets at the top. So this should be everything that I need to do this bike. To be fair, it doesn't actually seem that bad a quality. I'm not expecting much for the adjustable from that. It might be a bit wobbly, but we'll see how it gets on. So that is £48-ish down. So that's half the budget gone just on the bike and on the tools. The tyres are another big expense that you're going to have to look out for. At the moment, 26-inch tyres are a bit harder to come by than they were before because of the, everyone was fixing up their bikes and using 26-inch tyres. So I've managed to find some cheap. Now I'm going to use the obviously plastic levers from inside the toolkit. It is fortunate I don't have to replace the the inner tube, otherwise that would have eaten more into my budget. They do appear to be good. They've held air for, well, the last month or so. Okay, one rim, one wheel. Now, like I said, ideally I would be replacing the spokes, but I'm just going to clean them up and hopefully that will be alright. I am going to service the hub a bit later on after I've put this tyre on. And just looking at the wear on the sidewalls, these are starting to wear a bit. You can feel them. Yeah, you can definitely feel them. If you just run your finger over it, there is a slight dip in there. It's definitely not as bad as the rock hopper that I had where it was falling apart, but if you put a flat surface against it, you can also see the wear. So these rims, these wheels, if it was a proper build, I would probably replace. To get back on the road with this £100 challenge, I can't afford to do that. Now, like I said, 26-inch tyres, because of the pandemic and everyone fixing their bikes, became a little bit more difficult to find in a low price. So I found these. They are some budget impact bicycle tyres, 26 by 2, and they're the cross pack variants, so they are more of a flat tread on the top with knobbly on the side. So if you're riding to work, these will be a nice tyre for you, I think. Yeah, I've not used them before, so I don't know how durable they're going to be, how grippy they're going to be, but they cost about £18 for the pair, which was the cheapest that I could find on eBay and other sites. Cheapest I could find, £18 for 2 tyres, which £9 a tyre isn't too bad when you think about it. So yeah, I'm just going to stick these on. So that's on. Let's call that tyres replaced. Another £18 into the budget, which doesn't leave much at all. About £36. No, £34. Great. The supervisor has arrived. Hey Tov. You okay? Right, the saddle. Saddle needs to be replaced. I've managed to pick up this one, Zhongxing, I think that's how you might pronounce it. That was £8, I think. Okay, well that's the original Marin saddle off. And then the new saddle can go on. I'll align that properly in a little bit once it's on the ground. First thing to check does this pedal spanner work? Okay, fits in there nicely. Are the pedals seated in? So on this side, on the driver side, you've just got to unwind it normally, as in anti-clockwise. This might not have been the best bike to do this demonstration on. Seized pedals aside, it comes with this 8mm Allen key, which obviously I can use as well for the tool adapter. Just bog standard 8mm. And then it comes with this crank extractor. I've already had these cranks off to find out the bottom bracket length. You either use the adjustable that it comes with on there, or can I use this big spanner? I might be able to get away with that on the 16mm end. But I do know these come off already because I have already removed them. So there's two options there: 16mm spanner or the adjustable. And that comes off. So let's carry on with this challenge. Let's do the wheel bearings. But this kit should be more than capable enough of servicing the wheel bearings, getting them spinning nice and smooth again, hopefully, depending on the condition of the hub itself. And again, of course, not everyone is going to have a vise, but it is easy to mount stuff in a vise like that. So, I've bought this little tube of white lithium grease with the budget, and using the tools from the kit, we're going to get this cleaned up. 13 goes on there, even if it is a wee bit loose. Use the tiny little adjustable and with a bit of pressure, because this bike is pretty rough. Okay, we can take it apart. Okay, so give it a clean up. If you're really doing this on the cheap, I guess you could just use a cloth and just go around everything and try and scoop out all the gunk, all the old grease. You can actually leave these seals out if you want, be very careful. Or if you've got some white spirits or degreaser, anything like that, then go around it. An old toothbrush works great for cleaning stuff out like this. But as with the wheels, as with the rims, if you inspect the cones here for wear, you can see that on this side there isn't much of a line at all. You can run your finger over it and it's just smooth, but as you rotate it round you can see rough patches, you can feel rough patches. So this cone is worn, and that will probably translate to the bearings as well, and potentially to the hub itself. Repacking it with new grease will to some degree help it, but ideally this needs to be replaced, or the cone does. But that is not in the budget, unfortunately. Okay, for reassembly, just going to use obviously this tube of white lithium all-purpose lithium grease that I picked up, TF2, weld tight. That's 10 in. Grab your fresh cap and that just presses into place. Now you can service the rear as well. Same process as the front. We've just got to remove the cassette first. So you've got your chain whip. I'll zoom out a little bit. So you've got your chain whip. I mean, this should be pretty standard across the board, whether it's cheap or expensive. You get your tool, which sits in there. This one's got a 1/2 inch drive on top and flats, so you can use either. Unfortunately, the kit doesn't come with a socket to go on there, and it only comes with the small adjustable, so there might not be enough leverage on there. So you might need to borrow a 1/2 inch adjustable ratchet or breaker's bar to go in there to use this, because I don't know if this tiny little spanner from this toolkit is going to have enough leverage. There is nothing else in there. Actually, no, I'm telling a lie. I'm telling a lie, aren't I? Where is it? We do have this. We have this little adapter for an Allen key, which is slightly more leverage, but the further it stacks outwards, the more wobble you're going to have, and the more trouble you're going to have with slipping. So that goes on there like that, and that just unwinds. That slides off. We can bin this cassette because I've got a new one. The new one is here in this bag, tri-diamond cassette, straight from China. So that was about £8, but I'm going to service this, clean it all up, and then get back to you for installing the cassette. Okay, that is all serviced now, all spinning smoothly. I've even extra, I suppose, with my own tools, serviced the free hub, sorry. So that should be spinning smoothly for years to come. But we've got this tri-diamond cassette, like I said, straight from China, 7-speed. What was it? 11 to 12 to 28 teeth. £8, which is, I suppose, like £4 or so cheaper than the Shimano. Got the small ring there, so small notch. Line that up. Doesn't seem too bad quality, but I guess the proof is in the ride. And I don't have a torque wrench, obviously, with this set, so we'll just use the Allen key adapter. To do it up until what I think, with my hand, is 40 Newton meters. There you go, that should do. Okay, so bottom bracket. Yeah, you get this tool, and you have to use the Allen key again, unless you've got yourself a breaker's bar or a 1/2 inch socket or even a big Allen key. Allen key? Big adjustable. So it fits in there quite nice, but there is a bit of play, a bit of slack. So especially with this small Allen key adapter, there is a lot of wiggle in there, so it is going to have potential to slip, but it does work. There we go. I again don't know how successful it's going to be for getting really stubborn ones out. I've already removed this to measure everything, and because it was seized in there, so yes, I've cheated there, but it is still possible to use this toolkit to remove said bottom bracket. That is all cleaned up in there already. Put a bunch of grease in there, and we're going to put the new bottom bracket in, which is this Chinhua. Again, just a sealed cartridge. Both cups are aluminium this time, so it's not going to be a plastic failure. As with the bottom bracket, yeah, the pedals were seized in these arms, so I haven't used this kit to get those pedals out. I've done that with a lot of fighting, soaking in WD-40, heating the arm, using a scaffold pole on a spanner to get them off, and then cleaning up all the threads in the arm itself where the pedal goes with obviously a fresh tap. So they should be good. Just give the arm a quick polish as well. But a simple Allen key from this set is all you need to put the arm back on. Dovey! Dovey! I'm almost all the way through all the spare parts I bought now, as it's raining. One of the bigger last things is this 6 or 7 speed chain from Sunrace. I think it cost, I don't know, about £4 or £5. I'll put it on screen. So we're going to fit that. So I'm going to have to take a few links out of this, so it gives me a good chance to try out this cheap chain tool. Wind it out. There we go. Okay, so I need to push it through more. Hey kid. Yeah, we'll go in a second. I know. Yep, raining. Right, okay. I'm going to try and service this headset. So I need to pop this cap off, and I am just using a screwdriver from a toolbox, which was allowed. Pops that out. It's usually a 6, but I don't think that's going to fit inside this. Oh, it might do. Cheat to speed this up. There. There we go. Oh, that's at least all cleaned up. Will this little adjustable, no chance. So the only spanner I have is this headset spanner in the kit. It's a 36 on top. But normally I would use a big adjustable on top. Wheels in, it's raining even more again. Can I break this seal? Yeah, I can. But doing it up is going to be impossible with only one spanner. Okay, same thing with all bearings. Clean those up, inspect them for wear, and then we'll get to reassembling. What a miserable day to do this. Anyway, it's all cleaned down. Like I said before, if you've got a spare toothbrush, they're great for cleaning parts, and some degreaser or white spirits. Kind of unfortunately I haven't accounted for white spirits in the budget, but I don't think it's that much, and I'll work it out anyway after. Yeah, little tube of grease that I bought especially for this. Let's just put a bit around there. Make sure it's pushed into all the bearings. Okay, put that one in there. That's all greased up. And then this one can go in the bottom one. Spin that on. Top nut. And like I say, this is the difficult part with only this toolkit, because if I was to just grab this top nut and do it up, at some point it's going to react against the bottom nut. So there we go, like there. Expand them both at the same time. Now ideally you want to hold the bottom nut and get the top nut done up, so they're acting against each other. But you also want the fork on the ground ideally as well. There you go, because it's going to spin the fork. So there. You kind of need a second spanner for that to do it properly, which the kit doesn't come with. What might be a nice idea to do, after changing the pads, is just to get this horrible little Allen key set. You don't have to do this, but if it will let me, just a bit more leverage on that. And no, that didn't work. There we go. Bit more leverage needed because these are horrible. But yeah, you might want to just take these off just to inspect the underside, and maybe just give it a bit more grease. Yeah, it might be. It's always worth just cleaning that up. and just add a bit of grease to it, just so it continues to function and all that jazz. Okay, and while we're here, might as well change those brake pads. That is heavily worn anyway. There's no left and right for these. Okay, time to do that for three of the spots. Okay, last job is to install cables. They don't cost much, new cables, but it is a little frustrating with the grip shift. Cantilevers are obviously quite easy to install cable wise, but the grip shift, I've got to take this off, take that off, poke that out, actually move that lever around a little bit as well. There we go. So you just have to slide that back. Carefully pull that out. Unravel the cable, watch that clip. Careful this clip. Let's take the cable out first. Cable comes out the back. And get rid of that. And of course the other cable, brake. This is in the toolkit as well, by the way. Ooh, first time. Nice, first time. And unfortunately you will have to kind of find some snips here. Obviously you don't need to get the fancy sort of park ones that I have, the cable cutters. You can just use a pair of normal wire cutters. They will do the job. Let's snip that there. And then I guess you can get your cable end and just gently crimp that on. Bend that out of the way. There we go. Well, okay, there it is. The Marin is all back together. I probably will do a few extra cleaning up tweaks before it gets sold, but that is £100 or as close to budget challenge, which included buying the bike, buying tools and buying all spares. And while this bike in particular is not a success, it was very bad condition, so I've had to use some of my tools, some other tools at work to get parts off this bike which wouldn't have been able to with the cheap kit that I bought. So, you know, technically it's a fail, and technically I did go slightly over budget buying the bottom bracket as well, but you can get a good start into sort of bike maintenance by doing this. You don't have to spend the earth, and that's what I was trying to accomplish in this video. Another example could be my KHS, my Team Montana. That bike only cost me £30, which was £6 more expensive than this bike, and it was in hell of a lot better condition. So there are bikes out there which it would be fine to do this on. You could get a cheap bike, cheap toolkit, do the repairs, and you've got yourself a nice bike. This is a good base for a project now for someone. I'm probably going to pass it on. If you're interested in it, then let me know. If not, I'll stick it on eBay. But yeah, it will just be for cost, what I've spent on it. But I hope this was a nice, interesting video. It's been a wet day, miserable day, and it's been a tough build this. It's been awkward using those cheap tools, the not having the right exact ones for the job, the tiny little Allen key toolkit, the Allen keys, they were so awkward to use. The adjustable, again, tiny with bad quality. But yeah, the rest of it isn't too bad. You know, spanners aren't too bad, and stuff like that. Bike specific stuff. I mean, you can easily pick up a decent set of Allen keys for not too much. So yeah, all in all, it's been a nice change of pace. Frustrating change of pace, but nice change of pace to try and do this. I hope it's given you inspiration that you can get into bikes, get into doing this for not too much and accomplish stuff. And yeah, cheap parts are out there, cheap bikes are out there, cheap tools are out there, so put them all together and you can accomplish something like this. So yeah, hope it's given you inspiration, hope it's been a nice watch. I'm going to get inside in the dry now with Torvi and start editing this video, and yeah, see you in the next one.